Welcome to the Reykjavik Open, one of the strongest open events in the entire world. Over the years, this tournament has played host to some of the biggest names in chess. Levon Aronian, Wesley So, Praggnanandhaa, and even MacLeod back in 1964. For years I've hoped to play in this event, and in 2024, we finally made it happen. Here's how it went. What's up, y'all? Heading down to the first round of the Reykjavik Open. Super excited. This is the first tournament in a while of this magnitude that I've gotten the chance to play in, so hoping to justify the trip and have some kind of a good result at least. First round pennies came out a few hours ago. We'll be playing a local young 2000 player. Not a whole lot of information on him online, unfortunately, but a little bit, good enough to go in with some degree of confidence. Obviously you never know, but hopefully. Round 1 was far from perfect, but turned out to be a reasonably straightforward affair. After a standard opening, my opponent started spending tons of time per move, including 20 minutes as early as move 7 on the move castle's kingside. By move 15, he was left with just 20 minutes to make 25 moves, leading to him lashing out with the move f7 to f5, an aggressive-looking attempt that backfired after I found the strong move g2 to g4 critically weakening the b1 to h7 diagonal. Black attempted to counter by sacrificing a piece, setting off a flurry of tactics that ends in White's favor after the nice finale rook e4 to g4. Black is forced to resign due to the loss of the queen after king f6, rook to f1, and we started the tournament off with a big win. In round 2, I decided to try a small experiment. For most of my life against lower rated players, I responded to e4 with the Pirc defense, beginning with the move d6. But in recent years, White has developed a number of venomous lines against this opening, most notably those stemming from the Austrian attack with an early f2 to f4, taking firm control of the center. As a result, Black has mostly shied away from this opening, until Magnus Carlsen came up with an interesting alternative. What Magnus observed is that by starting with the move knight to c6, Black provokes his opponent into playing the move knight to f3, blocking the advance of the f-pawn and allowing the Pirc structure to be obtained without allowing White's most aggressive options. Now there are some downsides. The knight on c6 is not always the best placed. It's vulnerable to an early d4, d5, and would sometimes rather be on d7 supporting the advance of c5, or even a6 to b4 in the case of a4 and a5 being included. But in this game, the idea worked to perfection, and after my opponent decided to trade some pieces with the move e4 to e5, we were able to reach a pleasant endgame with the black pieces as early as move 15. Shortly thereafter, even with so few pieces remaining, we were able to drum up some strong threats against the enemy king, beautifully combining the knights and the pin on the c-file to threaten knight to b3 checkmate. In order to avoid this, my opponent was forced to give away his c-pawn, then give away his g-pawn, then give away a full rook, propelling us to a 2-0 start in the tournament. Yep, That's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Round 3 we played against strong grandmaster Vahaps and all. Cool thing about this game is the top 4 boards of this tournament are playing on like this sort of like raised stage area, and we got to play on board 2 against Anal. Not cool things about this game, basically everything else. Played pretty terribly, frankly. And then for some reason I got attracted to this idea with DC5 and then taking back on F3 with Napoleon. Which you don't need to be a particularly strong player for this to sort of raise alarm bells and look very strange to you. It looked very strange to me, of course, but after a very, very long think, I started to get in my head a little bit and was like, okay, I mean, is this position that bad? So I decided to go for it, and of course it is very bad. My opponent found a very nice way to punish the concept entirely with this 97 move, giving away a pawn for an attack against my king, and he won a very nice game. Forced my king into a very deep mating net in the endgame even, and then just played this very nice finishing move knight g8, after which there's no defense to knight f6 checkmate. Unfortunate, not a great game. If we do get back on stage, I'm going to be hoping to play considerably better than that, but oh well, what can you do? It's a very strong player. Next round we bounced back a bit. We played a 2100 German player. For some reason I decided to play the Sicilian Dragon. Not really sure why, just flash of inspiration, felt like something new. And then eventually I was able to develop a pretty crushing attack on the A file, sort of swapping the positions of the queen and the rook, and there's no defense to rook a1 checkmate. So got back on the board with that one. Most likely my opponent had overlooked my idea in this position, weaving a mating net by reordering the pieces on the A file. This was an idea that I was familiar with from back in 2019. In this Title Tuesday game, I eventually managed to win with the black pieces, but not without a great deal of luck. In this position, my opponent could have played queen to g6 check, forcing the king back to g8, and following up with the brilliancy rook to h7, after which there's no good defense to queen h5 and rook to h8 checkmate. Remind you of anything? Alright, what's up y'all? Headed to the Blitz tournament of the Reykjavik Open, my favorite part of any chess tournament, and obviously the main reason for flying here to Iceland.
And the winner, 9 out of 9, from the International Master Alexander Krauss.
It is a cold, rainy night in Iceland. It is midnight. We've got a classical game in 8 hours, but I cannot be happier right now. We won the Blitz tournament. Unbelievable result for me. I'm so happy. And not only did we won it by the score of 9-0. I don't think I've 9-0'd a tournament in my life. Like, I could have been playing 9-1500s. I don't think I would. I'd still be very happy with 9-0. But here we played, I guess, probably 4 to 5 title players. I don't even know exactly how many, but we came away with 9 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses, clear first place, of course. I'm lost for words. Round 5, we played an American player, or an Iranian-American player, to a Circassian. We got a pretty smooth game. Another Italian, where she went for this early bishop takes h3 sacrifice, which is sort of known to be refuted. There's not a lot of counterplay, and so it's actually very difficult for black not to just fall under a crushing attack immediately, which is basically what happened. We found this nice continuation with knight gf5 check. Knight hf5 also works, I think, but knight gf5 I think is a little more direct. She played king f8 because if she takes, then I take back with the knight, and with the h and g files open, she is not going to survive very long. But then we have this very nice move, knight g4. The knight on f5 does not actually require any more protection, as was demonstrated in the game. After she captured, it leads to checkmate by force. So yeah, we're up to 4 out of 5 now, as well as the blitz tournament yesterday. Tonight is going to be the next big test. We'll have black against most likely a strong grandmaster. Probably one of the higher up boards, not the stage, but getting close up there. If we do get back on stage, I'm going to be hoping to play considerably better than that. Welp, it's the same old song. Another day, another loss with white on stage. I'm pretty disappointed with the way I played. I missed a lot of my opponent's ideas and underestimated the strength of a lot of things that he did until they appeared on the board. A lot of the game, I actually thought I was maybe consolidating and just going to win the game. Not a great result. I do think the opening went reasonably well for me. But apparently I did this too early, because after h4, I overlooked his idea of h5, gh knight f5 giving away the piece. Grossly underestimated this attack, because after bishop f3, there's no immediate mate, but all of my pieces are stuck, so black can afford to take his time building up the attack. I missed some ideas later as well. c5 did not really occur to me until basically it was too late. I missed queen h7 in several lines as well. Yeah, a lot of stuff like that where there's just so much that I missed. This is going to require a much more thorough analysis. 4 out of 6 is not enough in the tournament to sort of seriously contend for anything, so the rest of the trip is just going to be about taking one game at a time, trying to come back with at least a positive rating change. We're about even now, so with 3 games remaining, there's still some opportunity to finish within a decent, if not, super good result. One of my favorite things about playing in these international events is getting to play against the sort of local legends. And in round 7, we got to play one of the local legendary players who has won like the Icelandic Women Championship something like 15 times or something ridiculous like that. We managed to catch her in the opening a little bit. I think it's the only time in this tournament my preparation has actually worked to this degree, but I didn't follow up particularly well, and we had an equal position for a good while. Eventually was able to break through. I think it was probably a bit more difficult for her to play, so I was satisfied with the opening, and we were able to convert nicely. The next round the pairings were interesting. We were one spot off of getting to play Avancha, which would have been, a very exciting experience, and I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get it. Instead, we played our 6th 2100 player of the tournament. We managed to demonstrate decent understanding of the isolated queen pawn position and crashed through with an attack pretty quickly. So we managed to win both of those games. We've got 6 out of 8 now. Still sort of playing for something. We can probably make top 10 with a win. Alright, here we go again. You'll never guess the weather here in Iceland. Rainy and snowy all day. But we are on our way to the final round of the Reykjavik Open. The tournament is almost complete, so we've got one more opportunity to demonstrate something resembling skill instead of whatever we've been doing for the rest of this tournament. I'm going to try to put together a decent game. He'll obviously be trying to win, so the goal is going to be basically to stay solid and try to catch him over pressing. And yeah, hopefully finish the tournament on a good note.
2 hours later.
Alright, here we are for the final time on a very windy day in Iceland. For the last time of the trip, we are leaving the Harpa concert hall. The Reykjavik Open has concluded. We managed to end on a bit of a high note. We held a draw with black against a pretty strong grandmaster, so, would have liked to play for a win, obviously, and contested for some of the top prizes, but drawing with black against a GM, nothing to scoff at. Always very happy with that result, sort of regardless of the tournament situation. The game itself was super interesting. I went for this sideline with knight d7 and queen a5, hoping to get a sort of safer position, where the whole evaluation hinges on whether I can successfully implement my plan and play c5. Naively, it looks like you can't, because after d takes c5, bishop takes c5, white has this nice tactic, knight takes b5, opening the pin on the c-file. But I decided after c5 dc that maybe I could play rook d8. And the idea is that white's pieces are just a bit stuck, so if white plays a move to solidify his extra pawn, for example b4, then I can start an attack on the king side with h5, and knight g4 is coming. Even if white plays h3, knight g4 is still coming, sacrificing the piece. And there's a lot of crazy lines. I don't know what the evaluation is yet. I'm gonna have to check it with a computer. But understandably, my opponent spent a long time thinking and decided that this looked too dangerous. So he decided to sacrifice a piece instead, with bishop takes b5 for 3 pawns. Then we reached a pretty dynamically equal position, I think. I'm not really sure what the evaluation is supposed to be, but he offered a draw, and after some thought, I decided I probably shouldn't be too much better, if at all. So I decided to accept, finish the tournament, 6.5 out of 9, pick up 4 or 5 rating. All sounds good to me. It was a great time. I do wish it wasn't raining for most of it, and we got to see a little bit more of the countryside. But the main city is still super nice. Iceland's beautiful. Reykjavik is a beautiful place, and hopefully I'll be able to come back next year and maybe put together an even better performance.